Oh my god.
Oh, pretty in spot.
That is unreal.
Right then, another Amarok videos. Not sure what plural is for Amarok, but anyway, when we first got these in, we made a bit of a bold prediction on the Facebook post that we'd have 1200 horsepower sat here when we're finished, and it's turned out that we've got 1230. So that's worked out pretty well. So as you can see, these are all fairly new and all very different. There's certain aspects from each one that everybody might like, might not like, and what have you. So we'll see how, tell us what you think in comments anyway. But basically, this one is slammed on a lowering kit that we're going to be releasing pretty soon. So that should be pretty good. Obviously this one has got off-road tyres and gets actually used in quarries and stuff like that, and it tows big trailers, so it really does get used. And then this one gets used for everything again, so it's a bit of a they're all a bit sort of different in certain ways. So they're all very similar in the spec, which the general spec will be below, which it's not one of these ones, it's one that's got everything on it. Basically, that's a 28 turbo, intercooler, the exhaust system, and then that one's not got the water meth that the other two have. I don't think you really need it, but a lot of people do opt for it, because that on the white one is literally 30 horsepower on a button. So you can see you get boost control gets a little bit funny at times, but it kicks us over 600 foot-pound of torque, 426 horsepower. So the customer's really happy with the power figures that we've got, and he's actually here waiting reception now and wants to go out in that. So we'll try and get a bit of video with the customer in it. Whether it turns out all right or not, I'm not too sure. So we'll see how we get on. That one over there, he's ready to collect that, and his S4. That should be in a couple of days. So we're going to park that one out of the way, forget about that one for now. And then this one's been in before, but it's come back in for a couple of tweaks, mainly centered around this little thing. You can just see it poking out there. That's the engine oil cooler. So this one, I'll get my graph up. This one, as it did before, this is with the meth. And then the other one, the blue one, there we are, that one. The green line, you can ignore that if you want, but that one, we actually tuned that remotely, because the guys from way up north in Scotland, we tuned that with the power gate, and that's what it got when it came into us, 303, which is bang on, and then that's what it's done since we've tuned it. No meth, just diesel only. So knocking on 600 foot-pound of torque, 400 horsepower. Drives really well. This one's done 20,000 mile, that one's done 2,000 mile, the other one's done 5,000 mile. They seem to be happy, start doing the numbers when they're getting up above sort of 5,000 or 6,000 miles, so it seems to be pretty good. But anyway, I'll throw these graphs in, and then we'll go around and speak to the customer. So, I know you've been waiting a while for this one anyway. You've made a decent trip up to us, haven't you? So
Yeah, no, well, it's all recommendation.
yeah, well, we seem to be doing all right out of these, and
Yeah.
everybody's been happy with them. The only concern people seem to have when they're using them for towing and stuff like that, the oil temps get hot, but
So you get over it with an oil cooler.
yeah, exactly. So that's what we're doing with this.
I mean, the Australians love them, don't they?
Yeah, oh yeah, big market over there for them. We've got
Yeah,
quite a lot of people
Time.
tuning them over there. But we do a lot of these. But it seems to be that pretty much every customer we've had with these as well, these are sort of a work vehicle. But like you're into your cars as well. You've got a lot.
Yeah, no, this isn't a work
fancy.
vehicle.
You've got a lot of fancy things as well, haven't you?
Will I notice any difference with driving this now against before when I'm just using it
Just
around
pull
town?
around.
Yeah.
Well, what we've done with this, we've spent a lot of time trying to get this gearbox and this turbo, because obviously the turbo is a little bit lazier.
Right.
We spent a little bit of time trying to get them to work in harmony, if you get what I mean, because these gearboxes, they really want to be in 8th gear as quick as possible,
Right.
which obviously when you've got a turbo that probably spools up 600 or 700 RPM later before peak boost,
Yeah.
you want the gearbox to maybe leave it in gear a little bit, and
Yeah,
the
hang on to it. Yeah.
yeah, and the main thing as well, it does allow it to change up. It's not keep it in the gear and you're like, oh, it's annoying, it's still in 4th or 5th or 6th. But when you want that acceleration, so like now it's in 6th gear at 35 mile an hour.
Yeah.
But when you want that little bit more, you just touch it and it's there. There's no like, what we tend to find with even standard turbo, you sort of stabbing throttle to get it to kick down,
Yeah.
and then it wants to go, and it doesn't drive really nice. So hopefully you'll tell me when you're driving it, but I think you'd be hard pushed if you're crazy enough to let your missus have a drive or whatever, then
Yeah.
they'd never notice, you know what I mean? You can poodle along.
Yeah.
And we've not done a long enough running to see, but I drove yours yesterday. I probably did 30 or 40 miles in it yesterday, and I think the trip meter was saying 32, 33, but that were an average of doing a few launches and stuff when we were
Yeah.
testing it. So I think they're pretty reasonable on fuel still as well. It's not like you're sacrificing tens of miles per gallon to have that extra power.
Yeah.
When you're using it all, it's going to use more.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's if I took it on a track day or something silly like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't mind
exactly.
giving it a little go.
Yeah, I think it'd do all right.
Well, you imagine turning up there and all the boys in their little quick hatchbacks and
Yeah.
going, what's this idiot turned up in a... And you go, bye.
Well, we have got, there's a little driving centre that we've sorted out at Staffordshire.
Yeah.
And if we can try and combine it where we're there and try and get you up, we'll no problem supporting you and let you have a little go in it. But we've just cruised around at 40, 50 mile an hour
The
there.
biggest
and-
problem with this, it won't go around the corners, will it?
Yeah, I don't think, compared to a standard one, I think with this lowering kit, it does drive really nice.
You think
so.
you notice the difference? Because I haven't driven another one.
Yeah, well, I got
Yeah.
straight out of a standard one, straight into this one yesterday, and then straight out of this back into a standard one again. Massive difference. Even just driving at this speed, you can just feel,
That it hasn't got the...
yeah, no more pitch
roll,
and roll
yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. But road's pretty clear now. Let's get a little.
Oh my God. Oh,
Pretty spot.
that is unreal. Oh, I thought it was quick before.
Yeah,
That is insane.
yeah, they're not bad, are they?
It's sick. Oh my God, my son is going to go out of his nut on it. And my grandson as well.
Yeah, they'll like it. Well, we've got them cars behind us anyway, so
Oh,
it's,
that is untrue.
but it's just, then you just stop putting your foot in it and it's back to normal, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like this is in sport at the minute, so it does hang, in sport it hangs onto the gears a little bit longer again,
Yeah.
and it won't change into 8th gear in sport unless you're doing crazy speeds, but
That's
how the factory mapping is as well.
And the exhaust isn't too terrible.
No,
I can put up with that.
Yeah.
You know, I had the 2 litre version
Yeah,
of this, and I took it to have it chipped and on the rolling road, so I
Yeah.
had it remapped, and they put a Miltech on it, and I just couldn't live with it.
it
was
just sounded a bit
noisy.
too raspy.
Yeah, it was too much, especially on a motorway run.
Yeah.
You know, but that
You can't even really tell when you're cruising. I
not
don't
in
think.
cruising, no.
Yeah.
But,
And you still get
but it's
that
got
nice
that little bit there,
Yeah.
when, you know, just to prove what you've got underneath the bonnet.
Well, exactly, and I think these V6s, that's what everybody says about them. The tone from the V6 is just like GTR-esque in it, which I'll get another little tickle.
No, that is insane. This is nearly a 2.5 ton truck.
Yeah.
That is
Slides, doesn't it?
obscene.
I think that'll whip meth on. Meth off. I don't think any layman could tell the difference in acceleration. I think it's very similar. Flick it on.
You're talking what, to 60.1?
Yeah, 0.1, 0.2 seconds to 60, something like that.
Yeah.
Which I've not wanted to launch this too much and see, but it does pick its feet up. You could probably spend a few days just trying to get every last bit, and these will do 60 mile an hour in probably 4.7, 4.8 seconds every time.
Yeah.
But this is probably doing it low fives and drives really, really nice everywhere. That's what you put it into drive, back into 8th gear. The oil temps are just creeping up now on this. Obviously not got the oil cooler, but you were asking earlier as well, like service intervals and stuff like that. I think obviously I won't go as far as saying we've doubled horsepower, but we're not far away.
No.
If it were a 200 horsepower, we would have done. But the service intervals on these are like stupid, like 20 to 30,000 miles, which I know some people's had these a few years and they've not even had the first service yet, which I think's a bit silly. For the price of the oil and filter, I'd just do it every 10, something like that. Obviously, depending on how hard you use it, if you know you're just gently pulling it and giving it a kick every now and again, then
it won't be doing that every day.
No, this is the thing. But like for our race car, we just change oil every time because we're doing an hour or 2 hours of just absolutely killing it.
What's is the temperature to look for that obviously things are going wrong?
Oil temps, if they get past 130, then you're going to start breaking oil down. But you're on about Australians. We've had a few people over there that they've towed consistently with 130 degree oil temps because it never run any cooler no matter what they did.
Okay.
And they've had no problems. But I would say if it's getting over 130, just ease off a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll jump out and I'll let you have a little drive and let you see what you think. But I would say you'd be hard pushed if we tune this down to 250 horsepower. If anybody could get in this and say it drives any worse than standard.
I actually, all I can hear is the exhaust is different. Yeah. I don't feel any different. I don't feel that it's waiting for, like you said, to spool up and do what it's got to do.
It's like you didn't set off then at that junction. You're like, come on.
No, not at all.
That's why I think this gearbox and engine pairing is probably one of the best that you can get. It's good, isn't it?
I'm going to get myself in trouble.
As long as you do it when I'm not in car, it's alright.
Yeah,
but that's just in drive as well, obviously.
I know. Then you've got the flappies if you want to play around with them as well.
If you are going to launch it, the best way to launch it is sport and take traction off.
Oh, okay.
The traction will kick in even though it's not really wheel spinning too much.
You just hold left foot brake.
Yeah, left foot brake, rev it until you feel like you don't want to. Yeah, you'll probably get to about 3, but till whenever you feel comfortable and then just let it go.
And that's the quickest way off the line.
Longer you leave it, the turbo spools up a little bit more, but you're sort of not going to get. You're talking fractions of a second for the sake of loading it up. But it's a proper auto gearbox as well, so you're not really going to damage anything too much.
No.
The oil might get a bit warm, but that just means you can't launch it again.
So you're happy? This is reading 107 at the moment. That's
no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. These are all about efficiency. So they want the coolant to be 100 degrees. They want the oil to be over 100 degrees, and that gets rid of all moisture out of everything and keeps all DPFs and everything nice and warm. Stick that back on it. Factory switch for you.
I always look at that pull even that.
Yeah. Like these are standard, all past 50 mile an hour. They seem to pull that 30 to 50 nice.
Yeah. You can still feel that's.
Yeah.
You know, and it's right the way through the rev range.
Yeah, all the way to the top. Really nice. I like them. Obviously, I'm sure you're happy. So
is there anything else you can tell me that I need to know for how can we say, to keep it reliable, to keep like you say, maybe change the oil every 10 instead of the normal service interval.
Yeah, which I won't wait for. Like, I won't be waiting for lights to come up telling me coolant's low and stuff. Just periodically check. Coolant, just run normal VW stuff. Just make sure, don't mix it too. Don't think more coolant's better. No. If anything, less is better for summer, and then a little bit more.
What about waterless coolant? Are you a fan of that?
It works in some applications, but these are not really known to boil over, so I just keep it. I just keep it as it is, as factory intended. The main thing with any big turbo, or any car in general, but especially when you're pushing things harder, warming up, cooling down. You need to let them warm up, and that by warming up, that's the coolant at least has been at 90 for a minute or so.
I'm straight over here,
right here, but yeah. If you want to keep going, you can go straight on. It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
I'm not going to take any more of your time.
No, it's fine. But the coolant will probably get warm twice as quick as the oil will. So even though the coolant's up to temp, you don't want to then be just straight on it full blow. Just build it up gently. That's what I normally say. Okay. And then obviously you'll see with oil temperatures when you pull up. If you've been out on the motorway thrashing it, and then you pull up and stop dead, the oil temps will take a long time to stabilise. You don't want to be turning the engine off while it's still stinking mad of oil. So,
no. I mean, I used to be quite religious when I first ever got my Focus, because it was a turbo vehicle. Yeah. I used to, when I got home, I used to leave it running for about a minute or two.
Yeah, which you can do that. What I generally say is, nobody wants to be the lout who's driving up and down their street as fast as they can. Just ease off it, half a mile away from home. Yeah. Just take it steady, let it tick over for 20, 30 seconds while you get your scent together, and then it's fine. I wouldn't leave it ticking over for too long, because usually with most cars, they just, like, especially these modern diesels, they just get warmer sat there ticking over. So just be sensible. That's the main thing. And we've, in all our time, especially when we've done everything from start to finish, we've not had anybody come to us and say, this has only lasted X, Y, Z. We have cars that we've tuned to even these sort of levels that have lasted years. Yeah. So it's not a big concern. Are you
pretty much sure that this is all bulletproof?
They're very, very strong. The car at Signers here that had a tune on before, and another one had a tune on before, and how far they were pushing were unbelievable. And the other one that we tuned had done 70,000 miles. It had 3 DPS through it because it had melted them, but the engine itself, it took some serious punishment, which we've had a few people say, oh, I've broken diffs on them, I've done this, I've done that, but a lot of people are not going to tell you I launched it 50 times and then I broke the front diff, or I was launching it on a slippery surface, and obviously that's going to play havoc with differentials.
Yeah, it's going to be scrabbling around.
Yeah, exactly. Just same as like people say Land Rover's the most reliable car in the world. If you want to break them, you can break them very quickly. So it's about being sensible. Like, I've never broke a dry shaft in any of my cars, and I drive them like I've stolen them all. So it's each to their own. But I think this is a fairly new one. Everyone we've tuned up to now has been the fairly new ones. I think most of the creases have been ironed out at the factory anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, I think...
Absolutely fantastic.
Any questions you've got, you know where we are.
And is there, is there an interval where maybe you would like to monitor this again? Is there anything that...
If you want to bring it up every 10 file for us to do oil and go out, because as part of the service anyway, we'll go out and drive it and make sure it's behaving. We can do that, no problem. Okay. It's probably worth a trip up for your peace of mind, but depends on if you're doing 10,000 miles every 2 months.
Well, this is going to be a keeper now anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I probably won't sell this on, not for a long time.
Yeah, well, they seem to be in demand even second hand, so you're not going to be losing a lot of money even if you do. But
well, they're going to stop making them.
Yeah, so you don't want to end up with...
They're actually amalgamating with Ford. So I've heard.
So they're going to ruin the pickup market. Because I think, to be fair, these are... I've drove a lot of pickups, and I speak to a lot of people that have had commercials, and these are the best.
I had the Navara before my 2-litre version of this. The 2-litre version, the Navara, it made the Navara look like an actual tractor. Yeah. Then this has made the 2-litre version look like a tractor.
Yeah, the 2 litres.
This drives like a Range Rover.
Yeah, they're not even comparable to 2 litre, even though it's very similar vehicle. But yeah, we tuned a 2 litre over there, and that weren't. This 3 litre is just perfect match.
Yeah, lovely engine. Lovely.
It's just a shame it ruins Volkswagen's emissions.
Yes, that's
it. Yeah.
Great, Brian.
Thank you very much anyway. Appreciate it.